it is I, Paige the Puppet, and it is Saturday here, and we were just thinking about getting our videos started. And as I said in the description, our plan is to do some batch videos, some ideas that we've been putting together. But Mama's been a little bit bit by that procrastination bug lately, so we're working on getting over that. And we thought, we always get juiced up when we talk to our actual fans, and that gives us the energy to move forward and get some of this batch editing done. And we wanted to get today, we got our new YouTube trailer, and you know what? It's really bothering me that I have a goober sort of on my face. So you'll have to forgive me while I get Mama to fix that for me, please. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. Okay, so that was really distracting. I was looking at myself in the monitor and it was like, that's so distracting. Hi, I noticed there's a live viewer here. Let me guess, is it Joe? I wonder if it's Joe, or maybe it's Kate. You guys are always so dependable and showing up for my lives. So those are my guesses. Let me know in the comments if I am right, and I will. Joe! Yeah, there's Joe. See, I was right. I predicted it. Not that I have any powers. I do have like a sort of crystal ball back there, but we don't believe it gives us any powers. We just like it because it's pretty. We collect things like that because they're pretty. Anyways, so as I was saying, Mama's been working on a script for a new trailer for the channel. We think we got it nailed down. And we're ready to record, ready to hit record, I think so, on that one. And we also wanted to work on the business plan video. We were going to do it as a course, a workshop, but we decided to turn it into just a YouTube video for anyone to access. That's going to be the 2-hour business plan. Creates a 1-page business plan. I know you don't need that, Joe. But, for those people who want to start a side gig or a big gig or whatever kind of gig, because, Mama and I, we work a 60-hour-a-week schedule, and that's 30 hours at her day job and 30 hours of writing, video editing, and then working with me, doing the videos and the video editing for this channel and the things that are going to go on, like the workshops and everything else we have planned for the coming weeks and days ahead. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Oh, 2 viewers. Hi to the second viewer who has joined me and Joe as Mama's working out a little bit of the procrastination kinks, getting a little bit warmed up by talking to our live audience as we prepare to, as I was saying, record our trailer, because we want to record a new trailer for the YouTube channel for the people who are coming, because we want to reduce our intro and make it like really, really quick, where I can just say hi and then say, hey, go watch my trailer if you need to know more about me. But we are digging into whatever topic it is. Like if it's the 1-page business plan, I can just, oh, hi, Kate. You'll find if you ever watch the recording that I predicted that the first viewer would either be Joe or Kate. And here you are as the second viewer, because I was right about the first, it was Joe. So, that's so amazing. Thank you for joining me. So happy to see you here. And yeah, so anyways, I'm going to start on that trailer. Really have nailed down, I think, my audience. Even if you guys don't necessarily fall into that audience, at least not Joe. Yes, you do rock. I got the most rockinest 2 fans in the world, and it is amazing. So anyway, what was I saying? I guess I'm distracted. Yeah, I got distracted. Uh-oh. Mama made the notes go away. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so anyways, I want you to tell me what you think of this. Do you think that this makes sense and defines? I know it don't define who you are, Joe, because you got that manufacturing job and everything. So it's not quite you, but you are a fan. So you're kind of the outlier. Oh my goodness! There's 3 of you here now. You third one, you third live viewer, if you want to reveal yourself in the comments, let's have a party. And as I talk, and as Mama gets, uh-oh, I lost that third viewer. That's sad. Oh, well, anyway, moving on. Yeah, so anyways, tell me if you think that this is a good description of who I have. So it says, I support creative, independent small business owners who desire or require champagne marketing on a beer budget, who love puppets, who want to create magic, that is marketing that attracts genuine interested clients, and who want to make a living, not a fortune. Yeah. And so then my next part, yes, you do support your friends, and we're so glad to include you in our friend group, Joe. And my next line is, I want to help you increase your sales without blowing your budget, going crazy, or losing focus of what's truly important in your life. It's not sexy 6 figures in 6 months stuff. In our experience, it takes 10 years on average to become an overnight success. But it's not hard to earn while you learn. And I'm here to show you how on this channel. And then I go on about equipping the people with the skills that they need to fill the gaps in their business. So I dropped down to 1 viewer now, but if you're watching, let me know whether that resonates with you. Because I really want to resonate. Unlike some people who don't want to be relatable, I don't know if I can ever be relatable like I'm a puppet. But I do want to resonate with my viewers and my audience and get into like really being able to help again, like we used to when we were doing things before. Well, when Mama used to, because of course I'm new to all this, but you know, we're banking on sitting on Mama's shoulders and her experience. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing to achieve our 60-hour work week. Which, because we don't believe in the 4-hour work week, it doesn't work for us. Not at all. We've read the book, and it did not spark joy, as that Marie Kondo lady says. We got that book on our bookshelf behind here. We got lots of books on our bookshelf. Mama reads a lot. She averages 100 to 150 pages an hour. It's kind of one of her superpowers to be able to read really fast. And so that's where she gets a lot of her learning from books and ebooks and reading things online. So we can go through a lot of material, chew through a lot of material when it comes to reading. I'm not sure, Joe, if it's still you who are our live viewer out there. You may be familiar because you were around Mama. Well, you're a little bit older than Mama by a couple of minutes. But yeah, I know I'll need more opinions. But thank you for saying that it sounds good to you. So it is you, Joe. So you'll be able to relate to this maybe if you watched a movie in the 80s called Short Circuit with Johnny Five. Yeah, Mama's kind of the human version of Johnny Five. Input. Read so fast. Gets so much input from odd places. Of course, he watched a lot of TV too. But yeah, that kind of idea. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd come on here and talk about those things because, like I said, Mama was procrastinating and needed to warm up a little bit. And now her hand is feeling warm and her voice is feeling warm. And I think we've got my voice down because sometimes when we start, we vary between voices and it's kind of unsettling, I think. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, I think that we're done for now on our live, and we're gonna get to doing some of this recorded batch recording so we can get some content out on our channel and attract some beautiful new faces to our spaces. We're at 169. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like that saying. I don't know why you're not showing up on my screen, Kate. You're hiding. It shows me as one person watching, and there's not. Anyways, yeah, that's our statement. And what part of it? And yeah, like so we're excited about like starting that new trailer. We're going to do the trailer and then a couple of videos on business planning and getting that one-page business plan done because Mama's decided that it's going to be a prerequisite before people can book one of the appointments with her to get started with some of her media plans and stuff like that. They have to have a business plan. And some businesses, they don't have a business plan, even if they've been in business for a while. So I teach you how to make a one-page business plan. So you have that if you want to book one of the sessions with Mom. The pre-brainstorming sessions, they're free, but she's finding that if you don't have a business plan, it's really, really hard for to be able to help you. So that's kind of what we've been thinking and working on. So yeah, those are the two videos at the very least we want to get on. So you must be catching up, Kate. Yeah, it's 10 years to be an overnight success. And that's okay. Because, whether you are 20 and 10 years is going to be when you're 30, or whether you're like Mama and like right now she's 49, she's going to be 50 in the fall. But you know what? 10 years from now, not that she's starting all over from scratch. We're aiming for about 5 years for when she can move to next stage of the plan. And for those who don't know, I think you, Joe, and Kate, you guys know that the next stage of the plan is buying a campground. Yeah, that's the next stage. We found a beautiful one. If you're on the early Your Morning Guru Reddit, you can check out the campground that Mama found for $600,000, and it would have been perfect if this was 5 years from now. Cause we'll be perfectly transparent here. Mama does not have $600,000 in her bank account. Nope. So, yeah, that's sort of like 5 years from now, right? Like, I mean, we think she's young too. But then we are also very wary and aware that Mama's mama passed away at the age of 53. So, she knows that Mama knows that she's, not going to die at 53 unless something happens like big time. But that's always in mind that it could happen anytime. So as long as you are living towards your dream, even if you haven't achieved it, that's a pretty good life. Because like Mama's mama, she was still doing things when she unfortunately passed away. But it was a good life anyway. It wasn't a glamorous life. It was actually Mama's mama lived below the poverty line all of her life. All of her adult life. But it was still a good life. It wasn't a bad one. That's not the measure of a person. If we only measure a person by what's in their bank account, we can miss some truly amazing people and amazing lessons. And one of the cornerstones I was going to top off, but now I'm on a roll. One of the cornerstones that we use, that champagne marketing on a beer budget, comes directly from Grandma Jackie, because she always said champagne tastes on a beer budget. And for her, that was about making the most of what you have and finding those things in your life that are your small luxuries. You don't have to have big luxuries and expensive vacations. I mean, if you want to, that's cool. That's cool. No shade. No, I don't judge what somebody wants in their life as their dream. Like it's like that's not for me to judge. I just know Mama's dreams and my dreams, and they are not glamorous dreams. And Mama's gonna have to work well into her 70s probably. We figure based on the numbers we have available and what she wants to do, because Mama doesn't want to work more than 60 hours a week. Like that's sort of the thing. A lot of people that make a lot more money, they work more than that. And the ones who make less, they are often taking shortcuts and mama just doesn't want to take. And it's okay. It's just a different way. But mama will be sharing all of those ways. I will be sharing all of those ways on my channel. Uh, as we move forward. Like that's what I am all about. We got that part figured out. We got our people figured out. We know in all our heart, my deepest heart. You see my shirt? It has hearts on it. My shoes actually have hearts on them too. Oh, come on. Oh, let's try it. Come on, so I can show the people. There we go. Mama had to help me a little bit so I can show you the hearts on my shoes. Because of course, Monday is Valentine's Day. Some people acknowledge it, some people don't. Around this house is kind of a low-key event because Mama made the unfortunate mistake of choosing that as her anniversary because she got married on that day the first time around. So this time in her new relationship, they don't really celebrate yeah, they are cute. Mama got them at the thrift store, you know. And that's the thing about us. We are not going to be those Instagrammers who buy the latest fashion because that's never been Mama's thing. Never been my thing. We buy things at the thrift store. Not because it's trendy. We know it's trendy. Lots of things that, used to be embarrassing are now trendy, which is weird. So weird. Like nose rings. Yeah, those are trendy now. And in the past, they were things that people used to get laughed at for. I don't get it, but I do get it, but I don't get it. Anyway, moving on. Those are my hearts on my shirt, and yeah, Valentine's Day that's coming up, and Mama used to work with a florist, and that was a really cool job when she was working as helping that florist here, and that was a huge, huge day. They made so much in sales every year on February 14th. But you want to know something? February 14th was the biggest sales day, but not the biggest event. It was actually Mother's Day. More flowers are bought for Mother's Day, but most people think ahead for Mother's Day. So it was a lot less last minute rush for Mother's Day, but overall sales for Mother's Day for flowers in a typical flower shop, they're bigger for Mother's Day than they are for Valentine's Day. And yet, most of the people think that florists get their biggest day, like their biggest day on Valentine's Day, but that's not quite how it works. Yeah. And that's cool, Kate, that you guys do big deal Valentine. Don't make a big deal either. Lots of couples. I mean, it's like that fallacy out there about this whole 9 to 5 thing. Okay, here's the thing that Mama has never gotten about 9 to 5. Because most of the people that Mama has ever met in her life don't work those hours. Like maybe in some places you work those hours, but in a restaurant, in a convenience store, in a retail operation, you don't work 9 to 5. Like those just aren't hours that I mean, you might be working from 9 to 5, but generally that's not the shift that a person works. And then you have the people that work in emergency services. They definitely do not work 9 to 5. In fact, one of the most popular shifts that nurses that were mothers that tended to work, they tended to work the overnight weekends so they could be with their kids more during the day. So yeah, there are not always so that's what it gets me. These people, the Huns, and the MLMs, they're saying, oh, ditch your 9 to 5. It's like, honey, I had never in my life worked 9 to 5. Now I did at one point work in 8 to 4:30, or Mama did anyway, not me. And even her present job is 8:45 to 3:15. Yeah, so it's not even a 9 to 5, even though that's her, technically day job. But yeah, I noticed there's a third viewer out there, so be sure to chime in with your thoughts. as I go through them. I'm kind of doing some random, off the top of my head stuff as I prepare to do my recorded videos right after this. Mama's going to grab a coffee. We're going to review the scripts, and we're going to go to it and get some content done for this channel aimed at my special fans, which I shared the theme, lost my words there. That happens sometimes, which is why I practice. And generally speaking, oh, hi, Live Style Rewind. I just love you. Thank you for asking. At the moment, I was just talking about my plans for today and getting over procrastination. This is one of the ways that we do it, is just hitting live and then creating a little bit of content that way and getting in the groove of my voice, and Mama getting used to operating my mouth, because it's a little bit tricky. The next day I'm off, I'm going to the movies. That's what Joe says. I love that you go to the movies. We haven't gone to the movies since before the pandemic. Mama and her boys have been watching things on Discord over on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Only on this week they did it on Thursday afternoon because Mama had teachers convention off. So they spent from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Just watching. They were watching The Mandalorian, and they got to the end of that. And so yeah. Anyways, that's what Mama did, and how she's been. But they haven't been to a movie in a long time. Generally speaking, they went to superhero movies. That's the most what they went to. Superhero and science fiction and fantasy. Star Wars and League of Legends. Oh, thank you. Thank you for thinking I'm adorable. Yeah, I like being adorable. I think that one of the things that Mama likes about me is that she can be adorable without feeling self-conscious. That we can be goofy without, because people expect a puppet to be a little goofy. And as an adult, if you talk in a voice like this without the puppet on your hand, people will look at you strange. Just saying, Mama knows from experience. Yeah, people will look at you strange if you're talking silly voices. And in fact, it happened this week that a couple of kids in the bus lineup asked Mama not to be silly and not to be weird. And she says to them straight out, "I'm sorry, kid. This is my DNA, is who I am. I cannot help but be weird. I will try not to be silly, but it's going to be a failing project, Okay? So we're just going to have to deal with that as I take you out to your buses every day. Because that's one of her jobs at the school, is to take the kids from the school out to the crosswalk and safely to their buses, where they line up and catch the buses and all of that. So yeah, that's one of the jobs that Mom does at school. You would not believe, oh my goodness, speaking of puppets in school, you would not believe how well Edgar is getting a one child to open up. Actually, all the children love us. I have not been personally to the school. She does not want to take me there because she does not want the kids to start looking at Paige the Puppet, because my content here is geared towards adults, or at least people who are old enough to start a business. And if they look me up and they find me and they're learning about business, it will be confusing, she thinks. So she has taken Edgar and Yasmin, and she is currently, if you watch my other episode about crafting, she is currently making a puppet for one of the teachers at school. And because Edgar and Yasmin, they went to the other grade 1 class, and they did a little presentation, and that teacher just was in love. And then Mama went to the thrift store and found a wig by accident. Like, she wasn't looking for it. It wasn't in her head that she would do this, but then she did. And so now we're making that teacher into a puppet. and we're going to give it to her. So anyways, there's that. That's one of the things. Mama keeps getting distracted by doing projects sometimes. So sometimes that's why the editing doesn't get done as quickly as it should be getting done if we want to meet our target goals. But Mama's kind of soft on her target goals. She's like, you know what? Everything will happen in the right time. Yeah, she's kind of wishy-washy. She's like, okay, make a plan, but you know what? Forgive yourself if you don't stick to it. Because, they say, and I don't know where this saying came from originally, but, it's like the plans of mice and men or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it is really neat that the puppets are helping some of the children. There's one little boy who's a little bit uncommunicative, and I better shut up about that because things in the school that are private. But yeah, just know that my brothers and my sisters are making a difference in the lives of kids. Like, really is so cool. Yeah. But enough about that because, like I said, privacy and all of that. Can't have anyone guessing who I'm talking about. That's just not right. So yeah. I can talk about business though. And okay, so one of my next videos that I'm going to do is the one-page business plan. I'm going to get that like put away and recorded and out there because it's really going to be pivotal to helping small business owners. And it's really pivotal to having something to share with the people that you hire. Like if you're going to hire somebody, or even if you're doing it yourself, it's so good. It's so good. This is a tool. I tell you, just going to happen. And so I better get on that, I guess, if that's going to be made, because procrastination is a tough one. But sometimes you just gotta like push through and get some stuff done, even if it's ugly in the beginning. Like that can hold a lot of people back. Perfectionism and thinking that it has to be perfect. So if you see something that I put out and it's not perfect, it's because I put it out to avoid procrastination. So, and if you see a mistake, I will correct it. There is no such thing as being done for me. Like I go back and I fix things and tidy them up or make them a little bit better. And everything that will be coming out over the next few weeks is actually rehashes of existing products that Mama had before in the past that we didn't keep up and maintain. So we're just going to be rebranding some of the things that were successful for Mama in the past and making them mine and then making them helpful to the creative, independent, small business owners out there that need our help. We were just talking yesterday. We were talking with our media package client, and we are writing a press release for her, and she is a hiking guide and a author. She wrote a book 10 years ago, not traditionally published, like self-published. So she's a creative, independent, small business owner who created a life from the things that she saw. See, the book was entirely written because she couldn't find something that could help her with her toddlers at the time because they were little kids and she loved to hike. And so she wrote the book about all the 5K and under hikes that kids and little ones could handle in her area. And then she put it into a book and then she sold it, and it sold over the 10 years, 10,000 copies. And now she's getting ready to create some what are they called? Kind of sequels, but kind of not sequels, like more in the series of the same thing. Yeah. Oh, Kate Harding, I totally agree. Perfection is not real. It's all kind of in the eye of the beholder and can hold us back from accomplishing great things. And in truth, it can keep you from accomplishing like anything. Because the truth is, even if you did something that you thought it was the bomb, it is like the best thing that you ever did in your life, Like it is absolutely, you are so happy, happy, happy about it. We have been there. We have been so in that exquisite place of creation where we thought it rocked, and we've still had critics. People who pointed out that it was not perfect. One of those examples was like when Mama completed her website a couple renditions back. A couple renditions back. She had gotten some professional pictures done, and she was like so hot rocking, and she thought it was like the best. And then she showed it to a couple of people that she liked and trusted. And one of the ladies pointed out, um, your nose hairs are poking out in that picture. Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah. Like Mama was feeling so like those were like the bestest pictures ever. And evidently her nose hairs were distracting. And now you can understand why she uses a puppet instead of herself on screen. Ah, yeah, no, that's just part of the reason. Also, I am more adorable than she is. Also, she doesn't have to worry about putting on makeup. She can just pick me up and go live when she has a random thought. Because like one of the things about Mama is she has random thoughts, and she thinks, you know what? I'll just go live and do this and share what I'm thinking right now. Because if I try to write it out, I'll lose it. So instead of losing it, we'll just hold it for posterity, and maybe someday I'll go back and go through the videos and edit them and like maybe pull out pieces that are actually important. Like, cause I know in my lives there's a bit of rambling as I stumble from topic to topic, but sometimes there is real thought in what I say. It is a matter of picking it out, you know. I know that, you know that, you appreciate that. I think so. Because you're here, Kate, and Live Style Rewind, and Joe. So appreciate you guys being here. And like I say, you know, I want to be here for you. If you have questions, thank you, Joe. I'm glad you think that Mama is nice looking. But yeah, you know, like I mean, as with any woman in today's society, there are things about herself that she's like, you know, I don't like that or whatever. Like it's like she's comfortable being who she is, and the people who love her, but she's not like wanting to go out in the world and have somebody complain about her eyebrows. And don't tell me that doesn't happen. Okay, because it does. It does. People judge you. It's natural. It's okay. But she's not just putting herself out there like that. Yeah, it's just not. And it's not that. Yeah, okay. See, it does hurt her. And then it takes a whole lot of energy to work through that. Okay? And it's like, I don't have the capacity. Like, this is a woman who takes absolutely no emotional labor on in this household. Okay, she's lazy about the emotional labor because she spends so much time on just keeping a mental health, an equilibrium that allows her to produce things. And thank you, Kate. We appreciate that. We do appreciate that. And it's not that Mama can't appreciate the moments when she looks good. Like there are times she knows when she looks hot. But you know what happens when you think that you look hot? Then somebody comes along and knocks you off your rocker. Okay, they just do that. People love to put people on pedestals and then knock them off. We see this in politics with celebrities. You get any form of people liking you, and there will be people that will hate you just because other people like you. Like seriously, this is what we have noticed over the past 49 years of Mama's lifespan. Now you have to understand, Mama grew up being different and weird, even in her own house, okay? So, Mama is half East Indian and half white. This is cool, that's okay. But she has all her siblings are full East Indian. Her parents, the ones that she was with between 5 and 15, were full East Indian. Okay, So she's different in her house. It's not a big difference. Like she was loved, well, mostly. I mean, there were cultural differences. There was beatings. Uh, there was things about the environment not cool. But everybody suffered. Everybody suffered. So it wasn't because she was different, but it was like you could try and say that no color exists, but when you are different, you're different, okay? And then so in the neighborhood she lived in, it was primarily East Indian, or I guess it's called South Asian. Now is the proper terminology. Anyway, so she was the only, no, there was one other white girl in her cul-de-sac. Like they lived in a cul-de-sac, and all the houses were filled with people of South Asian descent, except the one house that was Korean and the one house that was French Canadian. And so everybody else was, so it was a very ethnic neighborhood. And Mama was, she passes as white, and well, in most situations. Uh, Not all that. So it was weird growing up. So she knew she was weird, and that was the beginning. That was the beginning of, having to accept that there's some things you cannot change, like that whole serenity prayer from the 12-step programs. Like that's just, it had to be a way of life. So anyway, I'm getting into things that really don't matter in the way of things. Yeah, they should stop commenting on people's looks, but it's been happening since the beginning of time. Like, and Mama doesn't care if people comment on my looks, like my looks as a page, the puppet, because I am not the best made puppet in the world. I am not the cutest puppet in the world or anything like that. And you know what? Call me Bucky. I don't care. I don't care. But Mama, as a human being, when people talk about her looks or, say, oh, you've gotten bigger or skinnier or anything, like it could be a positive thing. And it's like, it just takes too much emotional work to work through those emotions on top of what she already has to deal with. Yeah. So, because she suffers, I'm sure that you guys all know. Everybody here knows. Everybody that's watching in my live right now, in the moment at 10:43. That's what the time is here, 10:43 on this Saturday morning. Everybody here knows that Mama has the anxiety and the depression, all of that sort of thing. But yeah, so dealing with those things is kind of a full-time job in itself. So she doesn't have enough energy. So that's part of the reason that she decided that, heck, I still want to make a difference in the world. I don't want to deal with that. How do I do with that? Hello, puppet. Well, actually, her first thought was animation. She was gonna do animation and get the message out that way. But she has no patience. Animation takes a long, long time and a lot of effort. A lot more effort than puppetry. I mean, don't get me wrong, puppetry, like making me and that sort of thing, it took a long time. Developing my character, that comes a little more easily. Doing my voice, that's easy and that sort of thing. So, I just the easy way out. Yeah, okay, bye, Joel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate when you join me. You are a VIP, even though I know that you will probably never need to buy from me. Like, as long as you stick with your job and all that. And I appreciate that you still support me, even though I have very little to offer you in terms of, life advice and stuff. Yeah. So anyways, I enjoy you. I appreciate you. I love you. Okay. So anyways, as Joe gets off, I've been talking for nearly 40 minutes. I always intend to just talk for 10 and then I get excited. Mama, that is an extrovert. We get excited and get our energy from talking to other people. We also enjoy and appreciate our alone time, Like Mama likes to read and do introverted type things. Yeah, I guess I am entertainment, and that's a good thing. But I don't know. It seems like Mama comes from a family that does not value entertainment as much as education. So maybe that's a little bit why I tend the way I do. That I want to be a teacher and a coach and a helper, and not just something funny. Although I was gonna do that as a preschool type character, but I was just loving. I just have such a heart for small business owners, and we don't want to give that up. And we also don't want to give up the puppets. So here I am, gonna try and see whether there is a market for a teacher of business things that is a puppet. And I think I do. I saw that I have 169 subscribers now. So that's really cool. That's really, really cool. Yeah. And it's going to grow. I have faith in my heart that it's going to grow and that Mama and I are going to reach our goals and we are going to be able to buy our campground in the future and be able to live out that dream for Grandma Jackie. Yeah. Yeah, literally. Okay, so I was talking about, okay, so when Mama was a kid, yeah, like I put that on the Reddit into Your Morning Guru. I made a circle, a screenshot of that because it's a milestone that would be appreciated over on there. But yeah, I put that there. So anyways, I was saying, so Mama said to her dad one day that, hey, I want to be a writer when I grow up. And they were all like, uh, sorry, he was all like, well, you have to be a 1 in a million to make any money doing that. What's your backup plan? And, as an adult, Mama looks back on that and she goes, hey, dude, didn't you believe in your daughter enough to believe she could be 1 in a million? Because, like, who's to say that she couldn't have been if she had developed the skills? Now, the truth of the matter is he was right because she's not 1 in a million and she gets middle book mush. Yeah, because she did try it eventually. It didn't stop her forever. It just stopped her in the moment. But she ended up doing a lot of, menial sort of uh, minimum wage type jobs. Like, here's the thing, Mama has done minimum wage jobs, but she has really never like stayed there for a long amount of time. Like 3 months and they give her a raise, even in most places that didn't do raises, except the last one, the last restaurant. That one that stuck at minimum wage forever. They didn't give anybody raises. But anywhere else, yeah, 3 months at minimum wage, and then it was increased time pretty much. And most of the time, Mama's had, any of the minimum wage jobs, she's had a side gig on the side. So it was never really relying on it full time for it. You know what I mean? Anyway, any questions that you have that I could answer? I could do that for a little bit before I go away. I just go pull that up. Because, hey, why not? 169, woo! Yeah, let's celebrate that. Mama really believes in celebrating the small things because we have done some big things in our lives. Did you know that once upon a time, Mama was nominated for a Woman of the Year award for a small magazine in a neighboring town? It's true. We got to go to the big city. This was in 2010. Was it 2010 or 2011? I'm trying to remember now. Anyways, we got to go to a very chi-chi affair. And talk about feeling out of place. They had $10 glasses of champagne filled with berries and little fruit. I tell you, there were the teeniest, tiniest, hot doggy looking things that you have ever seen. They were actually, what was it? I think it was goat sausage, little hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. That was the only time in her life, I think, that we've ever had like real hors d'oeuvres, like not appetizers, because appetizers are a little bit different, I would say, than hors d'oeuvres. Anyways, it was the only time she's ever in her life had hors d'oeuvres. And yeah, so that was a thing that happened once upon a time. So yeah, it was a real high and low in Mama's life, though. So she was there for the award, but the night before, her ex-husband had such a fight with her, picked a fight with her, told her he wasn't going to drive her to the city. Now, the thing about Mama is she didn't learn to drive till she was 35. And she still, to this day, does not like driving at night. She has astigmatism, and that means the lights at night, they sort of look sparkly, like way more sparkly than it does to normalize. Okay, so she doesn't like driving at night because the lights distract her, and she doesn't like the feeling. She's scared. She doesn't do it as often as she can avoid it. She avoids it. So there he was being all an a-hole and stuff and saying, I'm not going to take you and you'll have to go. And see, the thing was that the very next day she was due to fly out to Ontario. She was booked for her first ever uh, multi city, but they weren't really cities, they were towns. There were 3 speaking engagements that she had in Ontario, that she was going to do the presentations there. So that is, oh, you don't drive either at 32? Yeah, Mama learned to drive at 35. I'll tell you that story in a minute if you want to hear it. Because it is kind of, yeah. Anyways, she was due after that to go to Ontario, and he had begged her. Okay, he had convinced her that he needed to have a ticket to go to Ontario, that he would be a good, I don't know. Anyways, the night before the women's thing, and that she had to go and fly, got in a big fight, said he wasn't gonna go, and really made her like be all off the wall and shaky. So when they got to the event, uh, you know, it, she wasn't even in her element as a human being, and then she had to deal with all these she people, and it was wonderful, but terrible at the same time, if you can understand it. It was like, here she was, nominated. She did not win. The woman who won, oh my God, unbelievable. This lady had been burned on like 90, more than 90% of her body in a fire, and she was a inspirational speaker. Speaking of inspiring, she had become, and she that had happened when she was very young, and she was burned over most of her body, and she was an inspirational speaker. And she won the Woman of the Year prize for her stuff and what she did. Like, what Mama did to get that nomination was nothing compared to that lady. So, like, no big deal. But it was a she event, like with the red carpet and the step and repeat, like they have at fashion shows, and the whole thing, like glamorous. Glamorous is the best way I can describe it. But also just horrible at the same time, with the emotional space that she was in, being there with the guy who had like pulled the carpet out from under her and then said, "Oh, I'll go." And they had made an agreement. See, he had a little wee bit of a drinking problem that they didn't really they talked about and then didn't talk about and then didn't talk about. And so this particular time, he had said, "Okay, I will go along. I won't drink." Spoiler alert: he didn't keep his promise. And that whole trip was a little bit of a nightmare. Not all because of that guy, but partly. It was just, like there were some pinnacles. This was the first time. This was when Mama kind of decided that she didn't want to be a professional traveling speaker because that experience was really, really rough. And she's like, you know what? I'm not sure I want to do that sort of speaking. Even though, it is and continues to be a very lucrative market if you're good at it. And, like Mama's not a bad public speaker. And she dedicated a lot of time and energy into becoming a good speaker through Toastmasters and workshops and courses and everything. She's like really had been working towards it, and that had been sort of, ooh, I'm getting paid $2,500 plus travel expenses and everything to do these 3 events. Woohoo! Yeah, but the actual reality of it was really tough. So yeah, that's that story. That was back in 2010, and then the next year she got divorced, or like at least separated from that dude. Yeah, that dude is her now almost legally ex-husband. We're hoping, crossing our fingers, that we'll receive word from the where is it? The court? Yeah, the court of Queen's Bench. We're hoping to get that in the next month or so. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I try. It's a little bit difficult in a funny voice, and I'm actually breaking some of the proper rules of speaking with my voice, because actually it is better if you are teaching to have a lower voice. Uh, it's more appealing to more people to have a lower voice rather than the squeaky high voice. But I like my voice, so I'll deal with not having as many fans. It's all good. It's all good, because they say be yourself. I just go be myself, and I am myself. It's so weird being a character, but also being Mama. You gotta know that some of the things out of my mouth, Mama doesn't quite live and agree with. But um, they're what she aspires to be in some ways. Like we do try to practice what we preach as much as humanly possible. But we also hide behind me a little bit and give advice that we aren't exactly following. You know, it's just the way of the world. I think. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, some of the things that come out of my mouth are just random. And Mama's like, where'd that come from? And it's like, lady, is deep, deep in your psyche, and I don't want to be the one, because I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to give you an answer on that. But it came from somewhere, because here I am. Okay. So there's that. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for nearly an hour. Oh, that's another thing. Okay, back in high school, Mama took a business course. It was Business Basics 10. No, it was Basic Business 20. Back in when she was in grade 11, no, grade 10. It was grade 10 that she was in it. And there was an assignment to do a presentation. And it was supposed to be a 10-minute assignment, like do a speech for 10 minutes. Mama took the whole darn period. And all of the kids were so happy, but the teacher wasn't. Because, as Mama learned later in Toastmasters, what part of being a good speaker is being cognizant of the time of your audience. And when you say that you're going to speak for however many minutes and you go over, that's actually annoying to a professional audience. And Mama did not know that back then, but she learned it over the years. But yeah, she likes to talk. Back in the day, she wanted to be on TV. She wanted to be like a talk show host, or to be the commentator for hockey. She wanted to call hockey games. Is what she wanted to do when she was 8. And that happened because they did a hockey unit in her what was it called? The gate class that she was in. Like, it's where they give you extra work. If you do enough of your regular work in class, they give you extra work. And so it's a choose your own project thing. And Mama chose hockey. And one of the assignments in that, it was a big list and you had to choose like 3 of them. I don't know whether it was for extra credit or what. She don't remember because heck, it was a long time ago. She was small. And but this was something that they did back then, back in the, I guess it would have been like 1980 or something like that. Something like that. Anyway, that's where she decided, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. But then when she went to broadcasting school after high school, because she did that for a little while, there were a few reasons that she quit the broadcasting school. One of them was that she got really, really sad after her grandpa died. And it made it really hard to go to school for a couple of weeks. But then there were also other pressures, again, from that guy we mentioned earlier, as soon to be ex. Because she was with him starting when she was 17. From 17 to 38. I think it was 38. Maybe it was 37. Was it 38 or 37? I don't know. Mama's not great at math. But it was 10 years ago, as of last November, was when the separation happened for official. But it was a long haul. It was a long haul. And soon, you won't believe it. Oh my goodness. Is soon going to be officially just as long together as they've been apart since separation. So like on paper, she'll have been married for 22 years while they were only together for actually 11. It's like weird. Paperwork is weird. Legal shit is weird. Yeah. So anyways, that's what sometimes happens. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about that in domestic violence awareness. Just sometimes you are stuck with the person in a legal capacity for longer than you want to be. Way longer. Anyway. Yeah, the legal system. Love it. Love it. Not! Oh my God, that brings back the 90s. I don't know how old you guys are, but yeah, that was a thing in the 90s. Or was it the 80s? I can't remember. Mama's been around a long time. Anyway, what else can we talk about while Mama's procrastinating on actually getting my videos done today? Oh, I'm such a good procrastinator. I mean, it's not like I'm not getting anything done. I'm building my relationship with you, my audience. And you guys are important to me because it's how I get my message out and how I'm going to let the world know that I have some skills to help creative, independent, small business owners. Did I show you? Did you know? I don't know whether you know if you were on the early morning guru yesterday, your morning guru. I always say early morning guru. I don't know why. Maybe because it happens in the early morning here. Anyway, I've mentioned on there that Mama practices what she preaches, and she was in Workshop Magazine as an expert. They interviewed her, and they even called her an expert in it. It's so cool, and that is us practicing what we preach when it comes to publicity. Yeah. So, and another thing that we've been doing is we have been on the Teachers podcast with Michelle Waters. I gotta get the details on that for you guys because she's actually doing another episode this afternoon. She's sitting down with Michelle. It's a podcast, so it's just all voice. Mama likes her voice. Like, that's one of the things. She can't listen to it for herself, but she knows that other people have said that it's nice, so she doesn't mind being on radio and stuff. It's a lot easier to be on radio than to be on video for her on a personal level, you know? So anyway, she's going to be on, it's called Rethink Your Lifestyle with Michelle Waters. And yeah, we talk about how to transition from being a teacher into side gigs and other things that people can use their skills in from that field and moving into something else. Because right now, I tell you, there are a lot of teachers who are thinking of getting out. Not just because of the previous 2 years, but also because of the strains that are coming from different quarters, whether it's the government or parents. There's lots of pressure when you are in a classroom. And people with big hearts sometimes just find it too much. I know that when Mama's ex was a teacher, the average lifespan of a certified teacher was 5 years. And I don't think that it is much longer here. You know, the teacher that Mama is in the classroom of, she's been teaching for 8 years now. So, I mean, that's longer than the average. And just too many. So, anyways, Mama is helping with that podcast as a guest host. Well, not a guest host, as a guest. Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the things that we're doing to help spread the word about what I do here and about the expertise that we're selling, basically. Yeah. So, yeah. What else can I say? I had so much on the list. Let me just have Mama take a look at the list and have a sip of coffee. And if you have any questions, let me know. Oh, good, you did hear that. Oh, Mama, can you fix my hair? Yeah. So, I put the bee right back down, and now I'm back. But yeah, Mama needed a little bit of a drink of coffee. And go back to the comments. Oh, yes. Kindergarten can be very, very tough. Like, Mama works in a grade 1 classroom, 6 hours a day. And she works with some, well, all the students, but especially, why they have aides in classrooms, right? So, yeah, enough said there. And yeah, it is exhausting. And Mama's been working very hard to develop a system that works for us to make sure that she gets well rested, because rest is really, really, really important to Mama's mental health. If Mama doesn't get enough sleep, we are more um, susceptible to getting lost in our emotions. We're more susceptible to depression and to getting caught up in anxious thoughts and things like that. So sleep is very much part of why Mama is committed to only working the 60 hours a week. And some people out there are like, oh, but full-time jobs are only 40 hours a week. Well, let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, most entrepreneurs work like 100 hours a week. Like, that's just the reality that we see. I'm not saying that is normal or that's the only way or, that sort of thing. But, like, just realistically speaking, the ones who are really excessive, like, the ones that a lot of us look out to, they work a lot too. Like, they do. That's just the way it goes. But of course, there are some ways. There are some ways that you can make a decent living without, um, overdoing it. And that's what Mama really tries to achieve and who we want to appeal to. Like, if you want to run yourself ragged, working 2-4-7, have at her. Okay? Like, there's no shame in your sales game, whatever. But we do not work 24/7 around here. We need our sleep for our mental health, and yeah, we like our time off. We're lazy. We're not ashamed about that. We just we need adequate amounts of sleep, and we need fun in our lives, which is another thing. Like part of why I exist is just so that Mama can have fun. It's cute. It's cute and fun to be um, looked at as adorable. It's just really easy to accept love as a puppet. Like even my tongue is a heart. Like it makes me feel good to be me, and so that's part of it. It's all part of it. It's about being integrated, or holistic. Huns have so twisted that word. It used to be a good thing, and it still does, I guess. But you have to like explain it all the time when I say words like that, but because the Huns have twisted so much, they make me want to cry. If I had tears, I would definitely cry over some of the stuff I have seen. And don't get me wrong, I have empathy. Like people do what they do because that's what they do. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. Although I think I did a video about that before. I'm not sure that it is true. Because there's lots of things that Mama knows she should do better. But let me tell you, doing better, even though you know better, is not as easy as that quote makes it out to be. Like, it's just not. And that's another thing, you know, it's it's not easy. Life, this whole thing, business, life, any of it. I don't know where we got the idea it's supposed to be easy. Because, like, I don't know that we can really appreciate what we've got if it's easy. If everything was easy, would we appreciate it? Like, I don't want to get philosophical or anything, or maybe I do. Maybe I do. But there's just nothing I have seen over the course of Mama's life or of mine. This shows me that anything worth having has been easy to get. When things are easy, they're usually a lie, a scam, and or not what they appear to be on the surface. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like this whole 6 months to six figures. Okay, I know people who have launched a product and made $1 million in one day. But there was months and months and years of preparation and learning and mistakes for that one day. Yes, they made $1 million in one day from one promotion, but they had everything in place for that launch. They had a high-end copywriter that they invested a lot of money in paying. They had all of their people, their affiliates, all of their network. Everyone knew about the launch that day. There were weeks of sending out notices and letting everybody know and hyping the whole thing. And yes, they made $1 million in one day. But that's not what they kept, because there were expenses involved, and there was marketing costs, and there was production costs, and everything. Now, don't get me wrong, they kept a lot of the money for their own pocket, but they spent a lot of it too. And I think of that million, I think, I'm not sure. I don't want to give the wrong number, but let me know. Just let just know that this is an estimated number, but Mama estimated that they got about 20K in that day. They sold $1 million. But she thinks that they kept about 20K profit from that whole experience. And like I said, it was years in the making. So that's the kind of thing that Mama has seen through her friends. Now, Mama on her own, she really has averaged, like over the years, it's been a long time. If you were to take everything she made, take away everything she spent, and average it out, she maybe I should do that calculation. But this is just an estimate, and maybe I'll do that someday. But she would say maybe about $500 a month, you know, because there were some months that were 2,000. I mean, not 2,000, 200. 200 is about average. There were some months that she was in the hole. She spent too much money, more than she made. There were a few months like that. But overall, over all the years and all the things and all of that, it's been probably 500. I think so. But that's just an estimate. That's just a guesstimate. What's with the numbers? Maybe someday sit down and do them. Figure it out. Take a bit. Take a bit. That's a lot of tax returns to thumb through. I don't even know. I mean, because she only keeps, I don't even know whether we can figure that out. Because she's been in business a long time. It'll be 25 years this July since she started her first home-based business. That was the daycare, for those who don't know. And I don't think this is one thing that we talked about on the channel ever. Ever? Maybe. I don't know. But back when Mama was in high school, she did a lot of odd jobs. She never counted it as like a business and didn't do the proper maths and that sort of thing. So thank goodness the statute of limitations is out on that, because she probably should have paid some taxes that year. But instead, she went on 2 trips. One to the island where her grandfather lived, and one to the city to buy mostly her prom dress, because that was the year she was in grade 12. So anyways, she did babysitting, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, washing walls, looking after dogs and houses for people that were on vacation, like watering their plants and stuff like that when they were on vacation. So that's really where Mama first experienced the gig economy, or making your own fortune, you know what I mean? Like just going out and doing things to make money that weren't really a typical job. Now, she did at that time, at the beginning part of the year, she did have a job as a dishwasher, and then she moved her way up from dishwasher and was a prep cook and all of that. But she had an agreement at the time with the manager and one of the waitresses. So the manager and the waitress, they both had kids that would need babysitting when they were at work. So the manager made it so that one of them was always off shift to look after the kids. So anytime Mama didn't have a shift at the restaurant, she was babysitting. So it was a pretty full schedule for a grade 12 student. So yeah, that's where the whole starting a business began. And then she didn't do nothing for many years. And then when she was on the eve of having her babies, that's sort of where the whole work from home thing came from. It's like, oh, I don't want to put the baby in daycare, and so what do I do? And so yeah, that's how we ended up here 25 years later. Yeah, that's how it all got started. And then the whole copywriting thing, like Mama always loved to write. And when she worked for the retail company, she was selling women's clothes. They sold women's clothes, they had kids' clothes and a lingerie department. And when she moved to Edmonton, because she was living in Calgary when she started with them, and then she moved to Edmonton, and she was working with a brand new location that was opening up. And they didn't have a written employees manual. They had always taught things through workshops and stuff in existing stores, but they didn't have that. So Mama suggested to the manager that they write an employee handbook, and then Mama did that, and also a product guide so that it could easily teach the girls about the different fabrics and what's the difference between a gabardine and a rayon, and what a Henley top is, and like all those terms that really help to wardrobe and to put outfits together and to talk to the customers about product knowledge stuff, the stuff that sets a good salesperson apart from somebody that just works there. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Mama wrote the employee manual and the product guide, and the company liked it so much that they paid her wage for the hours that she had spent writing on it. So that was her first paid copywriting job as an adult, even though she didn't mean for it to be. And that's why Mama really understands people who have ended in business accidentally. Because let me tell you, she way undercharged on that job. But she had no clue. And it was extra money. And it was a good experience. I have to hit the mute button for a second because Mama has to cough and she doesn't want to do it in your ear. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Yeah, Mama didn't want to. Oh, thank you, Lifestyle Rewind. Yeah. Yeah, Mama has been very innovative over the years. When I talk about her as me, it sounds a lot less braggy than when she talks about herself, because she does done some pretty incredible things, if she does say so herself, or if I say so. I mean, we haven't even told you about the time when she won the video editing award, sort of. So I'll tell you that story. This story goes back to 2004. This is before Mama knew anything about YouTube or anything like that, and she didn't have a digital camera. She had an old style, take a cassette type video camera. But what we got was a dongle. And this dongle, evidently that's the term for it. Don't laugh. It was really called that. We looked it up at the time. So anyways, there was a contest that was put on by the health authority and the RCMP and the school board. It was a joint sort of program, and they were putting together a contest. And the contest was to make a poster, a radio ad, or a video for reduce impaired driving effects. So it was called RIDE, RIDE. So Mama got the grade 9s together, and she taught them over the course of a few weeks how to make a video. And they went through storyboarding and scripting and then shooting. And then Mama did all the editing. She was going to teach them how to edit, but they were running out of time, and it was a little complicated. This was before Mama knew how to use Premiere. We used a program called Pinnacle. I don't even know if that exists anymore, but it was a program called Pinnacle that she used to edit and put it together. And the grade 9s, they won $1,000. They used it towards their grad trip, because in that town, it was a very small town. In that town, they would go for a trip at the end of the school year. And so they used that $1,000 towards their trip. And yeah, that was the time that Mama won an award for video production, sort of, because the kids got the credit because they did most of the work. She was just there to help facilitate it. But she was pretty proud of that. And they were so thankful that they gave her an honorarium of $100. So that was really nice. And like I said, so that was her first foray into modern video production and editing. And like I said, we had to go from that like 8-track, like no, it wasn't 8-track, it was mini 8, super 8, yeah, something like that. Teeny tiny tapes. They didn't fit in your VHS recorder. And if you're young, none of this is going to make sense. But for those of you who are old enough, that's what she was dealing with at the time. So that was back in 2004, and yeah, in McLennan, Alberta. That's also where she did her very first live presentation. She did it at the coffee shop there. They had a little room in the back, and she had 10 people registered. And for $75, she taught them how to build a website for a small locally owned business. So you could kind of say she was ahead of her time because Google was a guppy back then, and that sort of thing. So anyways, that was another example of when she went way over time. It was scheduled to last 3 hours, but it actually lasted 4. So she apologizes to those people that she kept for a whole extra hour when they might not have been expecting it. But they seemed appreciative. And I believe it was like 7 of those clients or 7 of those people that had attended actually became clients of hers. So the speaking was a way that she got clients back in 2004. So yeah, those are just some of the stories that Mama has through her past. And that was all. That was all before she started to work for the federally funded, locally directed nonprofit that is where she got her certification from for small business coaching. All of that was done like sort of learning on her own from books and from workshops and from online and everything. Because back then, she just kind of did it. It didn't exist back then, a lot of the things that exist now. And she wants to help people to get through because she realizes that some of the things that she did back then were easier and some of them were harder. And it's not a matter of easier or harder. There's just so many lessons in the crazy things that Mama has done in her life. Like, for example, live style rewind. You being 32 and not knowing how to drive, Mama was 35. Yeah. So it is possible if you want it. So, oh yeah, here's the story of how Mama ended up learning how to drive. Okay. So Mama got her learner's license, as most children in Alberta at the time did, at the age of 14. As soon as it was legal for her to take the learner's exam, she did it. She was so excited to be able to learn how to drive. But she had a part-time job after school. She already had a part-time job after school. So it was very difficult for her parents to give her lessons. And then when she got to be 16 and she could take it through the high school, they used to have the lessons that you could take a course and you could get it through high school. But the year before she turned 16, they stopped that program. And Mama, by the time she turned 16, had not one, but 2 part-time jobs. She worked from 4 to 8 at the university in the food department. She worked in the cafeteria serving up food. And then her other part-time job was selling T-shirts at a flea market for friends of the family. The friends of the family owned a T-shirt shop, and then they had the booth at the flea market, and then so that's what her 2 jobs were. And so that meant no time for lessons. in the weekend or after school, and they had no lessons in the school. So Mama just kind of let it go by the wayside. And then she moved to BC to live with her mother and her stepfather. And when she was there, okay, first of all, she was busy. She had a job and that sort of thing. And also, she was a little bit of a snob. And she was a little bit scared of her stepdad's car because it was really old. And she didn't want to, she was a little bit embarrassed um, to learn in that car. She really, really should have, but she was a snob. And so she didn't learn at that time. And then she moved to Edmonton back again with the dude, the guy, that 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 long 22-year mistake. And he was not so keen on having her drive. Like he could drive her everywhere and everywhere. She didn't need to go. She could go. She could catch a bus, and he would come pick her up from work or whatever. And so it never was a priority to get the driver's license. And then at 24, she had her first baby. And at 26, she had her second. And then they moved up north and they were, there it just wasn't a priority. And over the years, it came to be that she was a little afraid. Now she was afraid of driving. She didn't want to drive. The couple of times that her guy had taken her out to drive, it was really scary experiences. And so she didn't want to learn to drive with him. And then, so then, so then it happened one Easter, the Easter that she turned, after that she turned 34, she was at the place and they went to Easter dinner with the guy and father-in-law. And father-in-law said to her, "Why don't you drive?" And she snapped back without even thinking about it, "Because he doesn't let me." And so the guy, he got a huge talking to from his dad. And then the next week, Mama was enrolled in a driving course that came to town. Like he gave her the check and they went over. It was $400. So that was quite a lot of money at the time. And he said, "Oh, there's the driving lessons and he's coming to town and they're starting today and here's the check and go." And that's how Mama learned to drive. At the age of 34, was it 34 or 35? Anyways, one of the two. She was not young and the rest of the class was all 16-year-olds. 16-year-old girls because it was at the school. And so anyways, that's how Mama learned to drive. And then the year after that, she got her first car and her first kind of adult job. That's when she started selling radio for the radio station, selling air for the radio in Whitecourt. Her first real grown-up job, kind of, sort of, It had a salary and benefits and stuff, which was new in her life at that time. So anyways, yeah, those are some stories. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for an hour and a half. I think that's probably enough. You probably need to go and do good things in your lives and in your businesses now. We should probably sign off and go and do some profitable things. I mean, this is profitable in that I'm building a relationship with you. You're getting to know me, what Mama has done in her life. I know it's a low-key sort of way of helping to show you what Mama knows and how Mama knows it, what she's been through, all that. Because she wants to help you, and I want to help you to build a business, a sustainable, profitable, small business. Tara, okay, I'm going to answer that. I will hang around and answer that because that's a really good question. Live Style Rewind here. Okay. Yes. Okay, if you're talking about the driving, Was she terrified? Yes, she was terrified. The anxiety still exists when she drives. This is why she still avoids driving in exceptionally bad weather and avoid driving after dark. Like seriously, she avoids driving after dark as much as possible. There was one time she drove in the dark because that, but that was because her 6-year-old had a broken arm, and her hubby's husband was drunk and couldn't get him to the hospital. So she drove all the way to the city to get his arm set because for some reason there was no way to get an ambulance that day. So she drove in the dark there and back on that time, but she generally avoids it. So yeah, she's quite scared. She still has anxiety. She still has to do a special little breathing exercise before she goes on a longer trip. She's really, really good locally. Like she can get around town, but she does have to plan her route in advance and know where she's going. She doesn't like to go to new places in that she's planned it out in advance. And even in the city, she will not drive in congested places if she has a choice. A couple of years ago, a few years ago now, we went to the city to go to the museum, but it's located downtown. So what she did was she drove to the city, parked in a mall parking lot, and caught the bus to the downtown core, so she wouldn't have to park downtown. Because so she has fears and she can get over them, but she still has to do things to make it comfortable. It's not still the most. It's not like breathing, okay? Like she has to do stuff. You know what I mean? So yes, she was terrified, but mostly what gets her over it is what she remembers from Trish Springsteen, who is a professional speaker in Australia and was a friend a few years ago, and they got to know each other. And one of the things that Trish Springsteen says is, you just need 30 seconds of courage. If you can find it in yourself to take that 30 seconds, you'll be doing what you're supposed to be doing and your body will relax. So if you can get through 30 seconds, you'll be doing what you're meant to be doing, and it alleviates a little bit. So I hope that helps. But that's how Mama had to get through it. And as I say, it's still not 100% that she is a comfortable driver, which is part of the reason that she doesn't go and do a whole lot of tours, because it's very difficult to figure out when the weather's going to cooperate and to create an itinerary that doesn't involve night driving if you are doing the speaker circuit thing. So, hope that helps. And if this did help you, be sure to put a like, comment, be sure to tell your friends. We are trying to, I know it will ruin that 69, but we'll get there again at 269 and every and after. So that should be our next goal. I mean, really, my next goal is, yes, 30 seconds of courage. Trish Springsteen taught us that when we had our podcast a few years ago. And she'll still remember us because we used to have, we as if I'm Mama. Mama and her used to have similar hair when Mama had purple hair. She's one of those people, I think that you would really like her because I like her and she's cool. But yeah, that's where 30 seconds of courage comes from. Not some of that bullshit that Dave Hollis spouts. There is a space for courage. It has nothing to do with ships or sailing or any of that built for courage bullshit he tried to pull. Anyway, just telling it like it is. Gotta do that every so often. Okay, now I have been talking for over an hour and a half. I think I've given you some value, Liz. I mean, I'm sorry for mispronouncing that, but live style rewind. If it is something you want to do, I swear you can do it. You can. Mama, she is okay. I'll have to tell you another thing about Mama and her driving. She is the first woman on her maternal side, the maternal side, the mama's side. So Grandma Jackie did not have a driver's license. Grandma Verda, that would be Mama's grandmama, she never got her driver's license. So Mama is the first person on her maternal side to not only learn how to drive and get a license, and be the first person to escape from domestic violence and find love afterwards. Because great Grandma Verda, she left and she got out of her relationship, but she never found another loving one. And she was quite bitter at the end of her life. And then Grandma Jackie, well, she got out of living in the domestic violence situation, but she never stopped loving the man who abused her, even to the end of her life. And then Mama was with her abuser for 22 years after a lifetime that was um, that not particularly awesome, the childhood, but 22 years with a bad relationship, and then now 10 years of being a princess. So yeah, that's sort of the thing. Okay, yeah, we need to sign off because it's been very, very long. Yeah, so bye to Liv and bye to Kate and bye to anyone in the future who is watching this. Like, you are amazing for sitting through an hour and a half of me babbling. But I do think I shared some things of value for life and for business because it's all intertwined together. There's nothing separate about how you make a living and how you live that living. At least not in our world. Like, Mama really tries to live up to that not that acronym, kind of that motto of creating a life you don't need a vacation from. That's mostly where we're at. We're trying to live that life that we don't need a vacation from. That's what we're all about here, and that's what we want to uh, empower you to do as a creative, independent small business owner. Until next time, my name is Paige the Puppet, and I am so glad you joined me today. Until next time, have an amazing rest of the day and believe in yourself, even if you're the only one that does. Actually, if you are the only one that does, you have to, because if you believe in you, I believe in you. Love you. Or maybe even if you don't. Okay, there's one person who believes in you. Believe that. Love you. Bye. Have an amazing rest of the day.